All right, New Orleans Saints draft evaluation. Only 7 picks for the Saints, which might seem like isn't that the average amount of picks you get? Actually, no. You typically get 8 just due to comp picks, but that's not what happened here. They still only end up with 7, although a little bit of a higher 7, as they didn't have a 7th round pick here. I think made the most of some of these later picks, maybe a head scratcher or two, but as a whole, let's just get into it. I think it's a draft that I think they did a pretty good job with. Starting off with Bryan Bresee, still not quite sure how to say that name. He is someone who a very fascinating prospect, I would say, as someone who I really liked, and I did not have 29 first-round grades in this draft class. He was someone I did have a first-round grade on, so getting him at 29, that I think is very good. Someone who feels like he fits that Saints defense well. The Saints love to have guys who can just do something, right? They could be good at a specific thing. They like to have a lot of guys who can rotate in and out. He should be a really good pass rusher from the inside day one, and has really good athleticism to the point where maybe he can improve upon some other stuff and be just a complete defensive tackle. But if not, should at least be a very good rotational guy. And the Saints, that's what they like to do. That is what they the Saints MO really is getting a bunch of guys in the room who can do nice things like that. So definitely a fan of that selection. Then they went out and got Isaiah Foskey with pick 40. This one was a bit of a reach for me. It was. You see on the consensus big board, and that's what you're looking at, is every player they drafted, what position they play for, what position they played, where they were drafted, and then where they ranked on the consensus big board. Foskey was selected at 40th. He's 56 on the consensus big board. Had a better 2021 than 2022, I would say. The analytics last year were not very good, but again, better in 2021, and maybe they feel like they're buying a little low, although they're not really buying low on him. They're actually reaching on him. So, but maybe they feel like his value is low because people are paying too much attention to just one season. Definitely things to like about him. Has very, long arms, 34-inch arms. That's very good. I'm sure that's what some people like about him. And runs a 4.5 at 264 pounds. That's good. You like that for sure. Next up on the list, they got Kendre Miller, running back, who I'm very fascinated by. Again, a bit of a reach here, right? And I know some people maybe, again, there's different philosophies. Some people say, hey, just go out and get the player you like. But the reality is, if you select someone at pick 70 who the consensus big board says should go at 110, typically they play like a guy who should have gone at 110 than at pick 70. That is how it works. That being said, I don't necessarily hate this selection. It's pick 71. This is right around where I'm okay with drafting running backs. I think that they feel like they could use a running back. Listen, you still do have Kamara on the roster, but obviously he has had some injury history, and you don't have a ton of depth. I mean, they added Jamal Williams as well. Benjamin should be fine, but they want to get another guy in the room, a young guy in the room, give you 4 years of solid production, and that's what he could potentially do. So, it's a bit of a reach, but I'm not going to crush the pick necessarily. We didn't have Nick Saldiveri, I believe is how you say his name. This one was not a reach. This one was actually a bit of a steal, as he was projected to go at no, it was a reach. I read it wrong. Definitely was a reach as well. Was projected to go 124th, and he was selected at 103. And this happened a lot with actually all of their picks except for one, and the one that it had a steal on was their last one. So just interesting there. But, I still think he could be a solid player for them. I think he could be a good pass blocking offensive lineman right away. I'm assuming they're drafting him for depth. You're drafting him at pick 103. I don't know if you're expecting a guy at 103 to come in and start right away. But, you look at your offensive line situation, your offensive tackle situation, which he was drafted as a tackle. Maybe he'll play guard. I don't know. But, Ryan Ramczyk, okay, no notes. He's fantastic. But then Trevor Penning, who, okay, you spent the first-round pick on him last year, and he was hurt for most of the year. He was sort of a developmental guy. Will he come in and be able to play well right away? Or do you maybe move Saldiveri and have him play guard, where you currently have, Cesar Ruiz and Anders Pete as your two guys, both solid and have had good years and not great years. I don't know if Ruiz has fully lived up to the draft type of getting selected in round 1, so maybe just getting another guy in the room probably worth it. Then they got Jake Haener, which is an interesting pick. So Haener is someone who, I talked a lot about when I did my quarterback evaluations, who could be this year's Brock Purdy. And there was a couple of guys I landed on. He was one of them, as maybe someone who, in a perfect situation, could he come in and just be solid and just, do the simple stuff. I could see it. Now, part of why I'm surprised about this selection is you have Jameis Winston and Derek Carr on the roster already. Carr is the starter, Winston is the backup. Why do you go out and draft another guy? I'm assuming they just want to carry 3 quarterbacks. They just value that, and that is something the Saints have done. Typically is carry 3 quarterbacks, so I'm assuming that's all it is, which kind of makes some sense. And, if you're looking for a third-string quarterback, I think he would be a good third-string quarterback. So is that the best use of resources? I'll let you be the judge, but hey, they're accomplishing what they're trying to accomplish at the very least. You then have Jordan Howden, another guy who was a bit of a reach here, and this one was maybe one of their most extreme reaches, as it was over 100 picks of a difference. One of the more extreme reaches you'll see in this draft class. Jordan Howden, who's safety out of Minnesota, someone who listen, a lot of people thought, again, 264 is projected to be undrafted. They select him in round 5. Does have good athleticism, though. Has good traits, and I'm assuming that's what they like about him, and that's why they went out and decided to make this selection. Again, for the Saints, they like to have a lot of different defensive backs, for sure. Marcus May and Tyrann Mathieu are your 2 starting safeties. They also have Lonnie Johnson there, so they have depth as well. But, and even Jonathan Abram is an interesting flyer. This is just another guy they're taking a flyer on, I'm assuming. Their last pick, A.T. Perry, I love this pick. I don't get at all why he fell so far. He was 85th on the consensus big board, and I thought he was better than that. I had him as a top 10 pass catcher. So that was actually, sorry, my screen went blurry for some reason for a second. But not my screen, the camera. But anyways, A.T. Perry, someone who, I had him as a top 10 pass catcher, and I had 3 tight ends on that list. So that's a top 7 wide receiver in this draft class, in my opinion, who they're getting at pick 195. He's a total projection, because what he did at Wake Forest was basically just go long, we're going to try to get open downfield, and we'll throw it to you, which is just not how you play in the NFL in this spot. But at the same time, why not take a flyer on a guy like that who is going to be very raw and might be a bit of a developmental guy? But at pick 195, he should be able to come in right away and do some nice things for them, I would assume. So I get why some teams would say, yeah, we're just not going to draft that guy. It's too much of a projection. But at pick 195, this is a steal. He shouldn't be still on the board at 195, in my opinion. So yeah, as a whole, didn't love every single pick, but I feel like they got fair value pretty much for what they should have gotten with these selections. So maybe a couple picks I didn't love, and then a couple picks I did like. So kind of evened out at the end of the day. So those are my thoughts. I think that the Saints had a solid draft here. And I think they accomplished what they were trying to accomplish. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.